The Blue Archive fandom is unique among a lot of gacha gamers, what with the characters being dominated by young anime girls and people going, "Gane! Fear of playing gacha I wanna play! I too have the same fear, but it's not because of the anime girls, it's because I might be tempted to pay for it, and I'd rather not. I'm a 19 turning 20-year-old woman. I don't see how that's relevant in any way. But what is relevant is that you're playing plenty of gacha games already, including Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Punishing Grey Raven, and Tower of Fantasy. Are those not enough for you? The community is weird to say the least. Yes, they are, but you don't have to deal with them. Just keep it to yourself and ignore what they're saying. On Discord, for the most part, these 20, 30-year-old men talking gross about these characters. And here you are, listening to what they're saying. Since I typically interact with the community when playing the games, it made it miserable to play in the end. You really don't have to interact with the community when playing the game. Not talking to strangers is a good policy for everyone to follow, regardless of which community you're in. These are kids or teens, and the sensei's hitting on them. They're also told to go to war and kill people. The same thing happened in any other gacha games. They're fictional characters at the end of the day. They're not real kids. And this game is not for kids. Is it wrong to have these fears? Yes, because you're playing a gacha game interacting with the community, which is not something that I recommend for most people to do, nor is it something that most people that I know that play gacha do. Just keep it to yourself and enjoy the game. Speaking of fictional characters, this manga got into a lot of ire for some people. This manga is called Drama Queen. So far, there are only 2 chapters released, but the manga has an interesting premise. The world was invaded by aliens, but the invasion was peaceful, and the aliens managed to integrate with the human society as a whole. Our 2 main protagonists hate those aliens for one reason after another, and so the 2 vows to get rid of these aliens once and for all. Oh, and they also eat them. So this isn't exactly a heroic journey. This manga got a lot of outrage because it fuels Japan's racist and xenophobic mindset, justifying them by turning the aliens into literal aliens as opposed to human foreigners, and making it as if hating them and discriminating against them are the right moves to do all along. Are we reading the same manga? Because from what I read, these 2 guys are not glorified or treated like heroes. They are awful people that kill peaceful aliens and then eat them. I heard a lot of racism and xenophobia on the internet towards immigrants, but I never once heard from any of those people, you know what? We're going to literally eat those immigrants for breakfast, like we're Hannibal freaking Lecter. Also, we're only 2 chapters in. We still don't know the overall context of the story or whether the 2 guys are in the right for killing and eating aliens. It can honestly go either way. Maybe the aliens are taking over the world for nefarious reasons, or maybe they are actually peaceful, and the 2 villain protagonists are just awful human beings that kill aliens and eat them. Either way, there are lots of wild speculations being made over a couple of chapters. I can't even judge whether it's a good manga or not when it hasn't even finished 1 volume or story arc, let alone the whole manga. We'll see in a couple of weeks, I guess. That's not the only manga that some people got outraged at. There's a children's series called Unico, made by Osamu Tezuka, the creator of Astro Boy. Unico Awakening is not the original, but rather a reimagining or a reboot, and this manga got some moms complaining because it has disturbing content. I never expected gun violence to be a part of a book fair for children of any age. Gun violence? What gun violence? There's this segment in the manga where some scumbag is kicking a cat and trying to shoot it, but misses. Absolutely despicable, but that's what villains typically do. It's not a form of endorsement, it's to show that the world is awful, and it's filled with awful people that are willing to kick cats and shoot them down. It's just another shot of reality. I guess you couldn't handle that. What's even more baffling is that this book was specifically made for 8-year-olds and above. The mother who complained about this whole thing has a 6-year-old son. Your son is not the target demographic. They are reading books that they're not supposed to read. Stop complaining and find other books for your kid. She's not anti-gun, but she doesn't believe a book like that should be made available to younger children. Again, the book is meant to be for 8-year-old and above, not 6-year-olds. That threat is a very real and sensitive issue in this country, no matter the age or where we live. Ma'am, there are many fictional stories out there that talk about guns. This is really not that special. This article also mentioned other ridiculous incidents. Somebody drew a stick figure with a rifle. Another student was kicked out of school for drawing a gun. Somebody was even forbidden to sign their own name because it resembled shooting a gun. This is a freaking clown world that we're living in. How are people incredibly paranoid? And yes, the children's manga for 8-year-olds and above got removed from across the district. Good job, soccer moms. You have protected children from the dangers of fiction that you're unwilling to educate them on. You absolute lazy hacks. Here's another case of misplaced paranoia. The Song of Saya, or Saya no Uta, is a fascinating visual novel featuring lots of gore, Lovecraftian elements, and a loli Cthulhu. Don't let the loli tempt you because this is a horror visual novel from the same people that made Madoka Magica, a nice little anime that people lose their head over. Apparently Saya is everywhere on TikTok. I don't know why. I guess it's because she's alluringly creepy, or because she's Cthulhu in loli form. The whole game is literally CP. No. It's not. It's a horror game where people lose their sanity. Like any other Lovecraftian story. One of the plot points just so happened to be the protagonist dating Saya. She's a fictional character and she's not a kid. She's a literal Lovecraftian monster. If it was CP, then it wouldn't be sold on Steam, would it? Don't start it. She literally looks and acts like a child, not even a teenager. Yeah, and she's also a Lovecraftian monster who tricks you into thinking that she's a wholesome kid who is totally innocent. If you think that she's a kid and she did nothing wrong, you're the one who needs to get their sanity checked. Just because fictional characters look like children doesn't mean that they should be treated the same as real-life children. By that logic, the Song of Saya also encourages freezing children with liquid nitrogen and beating them to death, kinda like that scene in Jason X. Don't worry, we have even more hooplas about fictional children. I have no idea what this guy's trying to do. The Lolicon crazies are triggered tonight! Or at least according to this doofus. They do not like what I posted about Lolicon being illegal. If Loli is illegal, then you wouldn't be able to download Blue Archive or read 18+ doujins featuring Loli characters. That obviously depends on your country or region, but in general, most of you aren't gonna get arrested for it. Hashtag save our children. You're not saving anyone's children by prioritizing fictional characters that look like children. You're going to save no one. In fact, you're only going to endanger real children as you're wasting the police's time. Plenty of hidden replies here, one of which includes Ilya and her cousin Chloe seemingly naked and be like, if you think it's CP, then call the police. Fortunately, most of these people wouldn't call the police because that would require interacting with a real human being and dealing with the real world. They're just too insecure for that. The post links to a Reddit post that is also equally dunked by the Redditors. Lots of people tell DOP to call the cops, but again, that would require DOP to leave the internet and join the real world. I highly doubt that DOP can do such a demanding task. Regardless, they are fictional characters. They are not real. If you're concerned about fictional characters being sexualized, you better get outraged over fiction in general, because they have done way worse towards children. Ilya, for example, well, if you know what happens after this, you know. Fate Unlimited Blade Works, in case you want to check it out. I think we should be less concerned about fictional children and more concerned about real children, because real children do things like this. The kids are not alright. I'm sick of my students joking about criminals. I've been a middle school teacher, and most of those children are aware that what they're saying is not okay. You can embrace it, laugh about it, but then tell them, hey, you can say that to me because I get it, but don't say it to anyone else because they'll smack your ass. Yeah, these children are making jokes about P. Diddy, Epstein, R. Kelly, and some of their jokes are admittedly pretty funny. 1 minute, bro, I gotta pull an R. Kelly. That's actually funny. In case you didn't know the news, R. Kelly was caught pissing on a teenager, while Diddy and Epstein were caught or at least accused of diddling kids. They're using these people as a substitute for saying child predators, which is a really nice way to either be courteous or get around censorship. They say, no Diddy, like another version of no homo. The joke is that Diddy was diddling little boys. Apparently, Justin Bieber was one of them. I don't pay attention to the news that much, but allegedly, that's what happened. This is how Stephen Hawking was moaning in those kids' ears at Epstein Island. Wow, these kids are brutal with the dark humor, man. You adults really need to take notes. These kids know how to make dark jokes while you're sitting around being shocked by what amounts to typical edgy humor. I'm just tired of it all. Sorry, but kids are gonna be kids. The sooner you embrace that fact, the more they will look up to you and respect you. The more you reject them, the more they'll laugh their asses off. And finally, let's go back to talking about video games. Half-Life 2 still remains one of the best video games of all time, and one of my favorites of all time. Half-Life 2 is one of the top-tier greatest of all time, and honestly, there are no other first-person shooters that are quite like it. It's a totally unique experience that still has an influence, even to this day, and I think anyone should give this game a play. There's a bit of controversy with one of the mods called Half-Life 2 Overcharged. The mod is apparently one of the worst mods for Half-Life 2, and puts a lot of weapons and enemies from the older Half-Life games without any care for balancing. Good lord, I had flashbacks of Hunt Down the Freeman. That game was awful. The reason why I talk about this mod is because the developer has a really unique way of dealing with criticism, especially from those awful YouTubers that have been doing nothing but talking smack about the game, and that way is to grab the Steam username of those YouTubers and prevent them from playing the mod through some malicious code. If you look closely, this programming code reveals a couple of comments that will check if a corresponding Steam ID number is the same as the Steam ID of the YouTuber that played the game and reviewed the mod. Once it is the same, it will not launch the game and will throw a warning sign that says, "Stop talking smack about us!" Fortunately, doing this ridiculous stunt has led the mod to be banned off of the mod hosting website ModDB, and apparently the mod was put on a DLL file, which would fall under Steam's definition of malware. Moral of the story, maybe try to find ways to deal with criticisms better instead of throwing a tantrum. That or make better mods. And that's all for the video today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it to the end, here's a cat. And also huge thanks to all these wonderful sponsors. You are all fantastic. If you want to see your name among these legends, then check out the links below. Just $1. And you have supported this channel a lot. Seriously, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my APB Show stream channel. Link below. Go subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.